This is Talkin Cowboys.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com.
And the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Jason Witten is in the end zone. Intercepted. Sean Lee. Touchdown. Des Bryant.
Now, your hosts, Mickey Spagnola, Nate Newton, and Rob Phillips.
Good morning from the Star in Frisco, and welcome to Talkin Cowboys, back in our normal time slot, 11 a.m. Central on a Tuesday. Rob, Mickey, Nate, Kent Garrison, next door inside the new Garrison. We're here for the next hour inside the new SWBC Mortgage Studio. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome.
As you said before the show, it feels like it's been a month since we did this, huh?
Maybe because we did the show a little earlier last week, that extra hour made it feel like we've been gone a long time. What do you think, Nate?
Way to go, Mick.
that extra 30 minutes, or whatever it was.
Real icebreaker there, Mick. Think I'll go change my Tommy Johns.
I got mine on.
Oh, that's good.
That's great to know, Mick.
Yeah, all right.
You want me to do the reader when we get to it? Hey, my Tommy Johns feel great.
You know what? I do want you to do the reader today. And we've got several different versions, so you take your pick.
Okay.
All right?
You got to do Papa John's. Then.
No. That's your thing, but we're going to try you out on Tommy John.
All right, we'll see what we can do.
All right.
As long as I don't blow up my elbow.
See, I don't know if people get that. You know, like the young ones.
They don't remember. They don't know Tommy John.
I guess
surgery?
Tommy John surgery is still a thing.
That's
right?
a baseball millennium fan.
Yeah.
Not a.
We try not to think about it as Ranger fans.
Oh yeah.
Great point, Kent.
With the
work
first
out too
spring
well.
training practice today, right?
Mm-hmm.
No more Kobe Lewis.
No more Derek Holland.
Nah, I'm more sad about Kobe than I am Derek Holland.
Well, they're not rebuilding; they're just reloading, and that's what the Cowboys will try to do this offseason. We're going to get into free agent talk, continue over what we did last week. We talked defensive free agents to be on this roster, long list of them, a lot of tough decisions the Cowboys have. We'll switch to offense today, and you guys chime in as well. 888-855-2297. Tweet us at Talkin Cowboys as well.
Let's go. Anything going on here?
Well, we finally got a little bit of news yesterday.
What do we got?
Nothing earth-shattering, probably expected. A couple contract restructures, some accounting moves, Mick, to help this team get under the cap.
And they needed to get under the cap, and basically, in a nutshell, what they did is they took base salary from Tyron Smith and Travis Frederick, converted it to restructure signing bonus, and spread it over the life of their contract. And since they're so young, it's not an oh no moment. It's a planned moment that when you sign these guys to these contracts with the high base salaries early in the deal, you always think you're going to restructure, and they created $17.3 million of space. They projections, estimates had them $13 million over the projected cap, which is going to be $168 to $170 million is the estimate. So with the money they save now, they should be under the cap by time March 9th rolls around, when the bell goes off for the start of the new league year. And I would imagine they got a couple more guys they can do if they need to.
And so they did Tyron Smith and
Travis Frederick.
Two guys that are signed through 2023, by the way.
And what they did, Nate, is they created $17.3 million of cap space.
$17.3 million.
Quite a bit.
You get the feeling that these types of restructures, and they've been doing these for years,
Yeah.
make the fans uneasy for some reason. I think it gives fans the impression like they're not managing the cap right, and that's not true.
No, and when you sign these guys to these contracts, you do so with the idea that this is what's going to happen. When you get to the point of the high base salaries, and these are, I think, if I had it right, these are the highest their base salaries were ever going to be. Mm-hmm. And what you need to understand is you have a greater ability towards the end of the cap to absorb some of these charges because the cap's going to continue going up. It's not going to go down. I mean, think about it. Last year it was around 155, 156 million. This year it could be as high as 170 million. So it goes up, and you have your charges go up incrementally along the way. So it's a way to absorb things, and it's not everybody does it. Everybody does it. We just know what the Cowboys do better than what the Baltimore Ravens do. Let's put it that way.
The popular phrase with this type of move is kicking the can down the road. You know, those salaries that will continue to inflate, but you can theoretically you can just keep doing this forever.
People live their lives that way, don't they?
Live on credit?
Yeah, they just keep kicking it down the road.
Yeah. It's a good way to put it.
I mean, how many people live that way? I can't. I wouldn't sleep at night. But it's hard to sit there and say I've got a credit card and I can't pay it off monthly and it's charging me 18 to 20% interest a month. Seriously? But people live that way.
Does debt make you nervous?
I just when y'all go to talk about kicking the can, I ain't kicking no cans. My cans are buried deep in the ground and I'm holding. Forget kicking the can. I've been down that road. That's a bad feeling now.
It's hard to recover
a bad
from
feeling,
too,
man.
Right? Yeah.
But like you said, the cap rising every year.
Right.
Well, that's a sign that business is good.
But for the rest of us, sometimes our salaries don't rise at the same percentage rate.
That's true. That's a little different story here. Do you expect them to do this with anybody else?
I think they can if they need to. I think guys like Sean Lee and Dez and Tyron Crawford and Jason Witten are guys that, with Witten in the last year of his contract, he's counting like 12 million plus against the cap. So if you said, oh, that's too much, let's sign him to restructure and give him 2 more years, spread it over 3 years, he'll be glad to take the money now. And then, if you have to suffer dead money, you have to suffer dead money. Because those contracts won't be as debilitating as signing a quarterback to a contract like that with Tony Romo, when you have to put some big bucks in a quarterback's contract.
I had a few fans ask me this question here, Mick and Rob. Okay, a guy like Dak who played more than they thought, or say a veteran guy that played more than they thought, and their contract was a smaller limit. Isn't it something in the league where the league pays them a little bit more?
Yeah, they have a performance-based pay bonus,
right?
And it comes from the league, not the Cowboys,
right?
So it doesn't count against the cap. And I would imagine his will be as much as anybody ever gets.
Right.
I mean, because his base salary was $450,000. I would imagine what he gets may match the $450,000. It'll be $300,000 for sure.
Right.
So he'll get that as a salary bonus heading into and those things usually come out around when they have the NFL owners meetings.
Yes.
Right.
About a month from now.
Yeah.
And that's a good initiative they have, Nate, because
I think it's great.
A guy like Dak's not eligible for an extension, right, for 2 more years?
He's got to go through this next year. I think you can do it after 2 years.
I thought it was after 3.
I thought you can do it after 2.
When did Russell Wilson get his deal?
Well, I thought his was getting ready to expire, wasn't it?
Yeah, they played his right to the wall. They played it, and in this
you don't have to do it.
No, you don't have to do it.
So I just think if Miss Jones is going to play this kid right to the wall, which, I don't think Dak going to be screaming and hollering, because, I know things change because now you're the starter, and I know your expectations change, but, right now, man, just stay healthy and be the guy that you are, and it'll take care of itself.
In the long run.
Yeah,
absolutely. And remember, we went through that last 2 years ago with Lale Collins.
Yeah.
Remember? Because he couldn't sign for more than what the minimums were, and they can only give him so much base salary. Signing bonus. But I thought what I remembered is they could rework it after 2 years.
Yes.
I think that's the same thing for those guys drafted the third round 3 through 7. Because I think when you're second round, you get a 4-year deal.
Right.
So, So he's got to play for $550 this year, I believe, is what it is.
Okay, so with these restructures, one more thing. Mm-hmm. The reaction I got from fans or friend texted me and was like, okay, they've created $17.3 million in room. What do you think they're trying to do?
Get under the cap.
That's my first answer, is that they were projected to be over, right?
Yeah. They couldn't do anything. It wasn't like they got something up their sleeve. So say it's $170 million. They were 13 over. Now they got 4 to speculate with. What are you going to do with $4 million? Not a heck of a lot.
Well,
not if you're trying to get a war, Daddy.
You know what? I love when son fall right into dad's footsteps. You know, that's sweet. It just amazes me that I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I mean, even though we drafted at 28, am I correct? I'm not worried because I'm just believing that Malik Collins and the other guys, Irving, I'm thinking they're going to have one of those guys going to impact this defense. And Sean Lee, you got Damon Wilson with a whole another year. Stay away from the paintballs. If you need me to come over and play with your kids, do whatever to make sure you're okay, I'll do it. But I think some of these young guys are going to pay off. Now, whether we can sign back the safety or the corner, whichever they think is more important, I don't want to deal with nobody else free agents. It has never been good. It has never been good. So maybe my thinking is wrong. Maybe somebody will fall through the cracks. Maybe we can make the money right. Or D-Wire can, make the money right, or he can heal up. But let's keep down the road we're going.
See, and this is a good lesson right now to remember when you get into free agency and you see a name pop up, and you go, "Oh, let's go sign him." Well, at some point along the line, to prevent having to do all these things with your salary cap, you need to develop second, third, fourth, fifth round draft choices who are not making that much money, and you got to be able to play those guys. Look at what New England does. They don't go out and spend big on free agents. They try to develop those guys. The minute you bring in somebody, I saw somebody say, "Oh, you get Pierre Garçon, bring him in," then you stop the development of somebody else. Even if you draft a guy, you bring in a veteran, you stop the development, and then it costs you in the end because those guys don't develop, and there you go again, having to re-sign another veteran guy for more than the guy's worth.
Yeah,
because their team doesn't want him.
Yeah, you gotta. If you going to sign a free agent, this guy got to be 28 years 28 years, no older. So they come in a year in the league now, 21, 22, maybe 23. So you catching them. You catching maybe a third-round pick, late second, or fourth-round pick that is played better than expected. So now you get a chance. You may get a chance to sign him, if that team has abundance. And I use an example. At one point, a few years ago, the Rams had, gold at defensive line. They had gold.
Part of that RG3 trade that got them more picks.
Yeah, so if you can – but that's hard to grab. That's hard to grab because what the Giants did, my hat's off to them, but, boy, they stuck for a long time. And and now they will have to draft it. Like the Cowboys, for the last 4 years, it ain't been because they don't want to get a free agent, but sometimes you put yourself in a position where you have to draft.
Yeah, and Mickey, you mentioned New England. The team that came to mind for me was Seattle, and what they've been able to do. Russell Wilson jumps out third round, and they were able, by not having to spend big on a quarterback for a few years, a la Dak, you're able to spend elsewhere.
Let me tell you what, they best defensive, the linebacker, the corners.
Cam Chancellor, fifth round. Richard Sherman was a late round pick.
Yeah, they made a lot of drafts, and then now it's starting to catch up with them.
Started catching up this year.
Yeah, or because you got to pay some of these guys,
and you can't afford to pay them all.
Yeah. But it gives you a window.
Yes,
it gives you a window of a few years, and they're still competitive. But you're right. Eventually, you got to pay those guys.
That's why you got to hit on Malik Collins. You got to hit on Anthony Brown. You got to hit on Charles Tapper. You got to hit on Dak Prescott. And if you hit on those guys, then that's a boost to your salary cap. You mentioned Damian Wilson.
Yeah.
You got you another linebacker.
I'll play him.
You hit on Hitchens. You can win with Hitchens.
Yeah.
Now, do you want more? Sure, but can you win with Hitchens? Yeah.
I would play.
You went 13-3 with Anthony Hitchens as your middle linebacker.
I would play Damian Wilson.
Yeah. And
I want to see what this kid can do like 3 or 4 games in a row. Because the little times that I saw, he thumped some folks, bro. And I was kind of hard on him coming out of training camp.
Mm-hmm.
I was hard, but he thumped some folks during the season when he had opportunity. So
yeah, if he's going to go play with guns, get those little dart ones that have the rubber suctions at the end of the dart. They used to shoot. Remember, you used to shoot them and they stick them on the wall.
Yeah, wow.
Rob probably didn't have any of those.
I didn't. That's over my head.
That's old school.
Old school. Damian Wilson became a starter at midseason, strong side linebacker, which, by the way, that's not a full-time starting position, obviously, because they're playing so much sub-package work. But, he rose in his snap count to, 20-something, 30-something snaps by the end of the year.
Well, what happened is he earned the job when they went to that 3-man line. He was the linebacker they started bringing in. Yeah, and you're right. He will thump you.
Yeah, he'll thump you, man. So I want to see what he can do full time.
And they were high on him coming out of the off season workouts. And then he had the accident with the paintball, and it really put him behind. But they thought he was one of the most improved players in the off season, and there was that jump from his rookie year to the second year. Right. Now he's got to do it again.
Free agency, man.
So develop your own guys and don't overspend.
Yeah,
and keep drafting well.
So
that's the recipe.
What do we got today?
We've got offensive free agents to be on the Cowboys roster. There are 9 of them.
Okay.
And maybe we should go to break and maybe get into it next.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Break a little early.
Yeah.
All right. 9 offensive Cowboys free agents. You keep them, you let them go. Next.
With unlimited data from AT&T, you can stream your favorite DirecTV content almost anywhere. Side effects may include sports-induced public celebration, increased desire to share spoilers, and repeated late-night use of the phrase,
just one more episode.
The unlimited effect. Get unlimited data when you switch to AT&T Wireless and have DirecTV.
After 22 gigabytes of data usage, AT&T may slow speeds. Must have eligible TV service. If you're not eligible, AT&T will move you to a new plan and overage charges may apply. Plan will include Stream Saver. Other restrictions apply. See store for plan details.
Hey, Cowboys fans. Did you know that over the next few years, more than 1 million service members will transition from military to civilian life? Veterans face unique challenges when they get out of the military, and Bank of America and the Dallas Cowboys are teaming up to help with financial education, career opportunities, and support of military nonprofits and organizations locally in North Texas and across the country. We're proud to support our troops and are deeply grateful for the dedication and sacrifice of our service members and veterans. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys, invites you to join us in our efforts to get involved by tagging game day photos on social media using hashtag TroopThanks. That's hashtag TroopThanks. And by learning more about our commitment to veterans at bankofamerica.com/military support. Together, we can thank our troops in ways that make a real difference.
Copyright 2016, Bank of America Corporation.
I went to my first Cowboy football game at the Cotton Bowl when I was 10 years old. I've been a Cowboy fan ever since, in the Super Bowl years and the not-so-good ones. Teamwork is what makes winners. At the law office of Domingo Garcia, we play as a team to win your case. If you have been hurt in a car or truck accident, injured on the job, call the law office of Domingo Garcia and join our winning team. With offices in Dallas, Houston, Austin, Odessa, and Tyler, we can help you in Texas. Call 214-941-8300. 214-941-8300.
This is Talkin Cowboys.
Hey, Nate Newton knows that in football, adjusting your plays are key to a win.
Yes.
But underwear adjustments are something we'd rather avoid. That's why there's Tommy John, the 21st century men's underwear that never rides up. Tommy John, no adjustment needed. And I'm telling you, I've been sitting here, I haven't adjusted once.
You're living it right now.
I'm wearing them right now. Shop exclusive Cowboys underwear at TommyJohn.com/Cowboys for 20% off your first order. TommyJohn.com/Cowboys.
Very nice. Very nice.
Best pair of underwear you'll ever wear.
I
Guaranteed.
went and got me another pair from upstairs last week.
You did?
They had some complimentary ones for us.
Right? So you actually spent some extra money on them. You liked them so much.
They're fantastic.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good. Very good. Welcome back to Talkin Cowboys inside the SWBC Mortgage Studio, rolling through the off season. We've got Combine in a week. Kent and I will be heading up there with the Broadman.
Combine, huh?
Uh-huh. Dave.
Indianapolis. It might be snowing.
I called Broadus a week ago. I said, Broadus, put me in, Rick. Broadus, too late, Dave.
What? You can't go?
Oh, you're not going?
I was too late. Get my press pass.
Well, they had a cutoff date?
Yeah. They always have a cutoff date to everything.
Just call and say who you are.
No, I really didn't want to go because if I did, the first day y'all told me I ought to call Broadus. If you can't get out there like we did for the Senior Bowl, at least just watch them. Mm-hmm. You know,
you can watch it on TV.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I might as well. I mean, because
you ain't interested in doing interviews, are you?
No, I would like to have heard what some of these guys say. Yeah,
big job interview up there for about a week. All eyes on you. What you say, obviously how you perform in the drills. Wow. Dak Prescott was there last year. Kind of shows you how important the week is, right?
How did he do at the Combine? Do we know? Do we remember?
Kent, do you recall?
We posted it on the website this past week, his full workout, if you want to go back and watch it.
Oh, yeah?
It's fun to go back and watch, but, I mean, he had an average Combine. I don't think he blew anyone away. Certainly didn't help himself too significantly because he was picked in the 4th round. But, I mean, he's a solid guy. I think he really impressed people on the podium. I remember watching that and hearing him talk about meeting with Wade Wilson and what it would potentially be like to back up Tony Romo and all the things that ended up coming to fruition and how he would handle the situation if he was called in and things like that. He really impressed people in the interview process and his professionalism and everything, less than, I guess, his throwing ability. It was the Carson Wentz show last year at the Combine for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He kind of put on a show.
And then the key thing is make sure you don't run into John Wayne when you're coming back from a morning football camp and get stopped for DWI that they later dismissed.
John Wayne.
There's always a guy out there that's John Wayne going to save the world.
Okay.
Pulling you over.
All right.
Alrighty.
That's interesting what you said about Dak, Kent, because you talk to people at every level that have been around him or coached him. He doesn't blow you away necessarily with the measurables and all that stuff. But he's a gamer, as we saw this.
Way in a hurry to Pilgrim. Joey.
Which
movie's that?
That was a Switzer.
Yeah.
Switzer always would say, "You never know when you're going to run into John Wayne."
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Free agency, which is upcoming March 9th.
He was in town, by the way, over the weekend.
Coach Switzer?
Yeah?
Yeah, he was doing an appearance at the other station's yearly annual event.
Yes.
He was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
The DUI got dismissed, by the way.
Yeah, it did. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So John Wayne, huh? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Switzer.
Cowboys have 9 offensive free agents. And let's just start going down the list. Kent, feel free to jump in at any point.
Sure.
Let's just start at quarterback because this is, to me, is a very underrated, uncertain position beyond the obvious. Dak taking over as the starter last year. You've got 2 unrestricted guys in the backup spot, and we all know that the beast is always being fed. We don't know what's going to happen with Tony as well, who's under contract. But you've got Kellen Moore and Mark Sanchez set for unrestricted free agency. Thoughts?
So I've got a rookie starting quarterback coming back for his 2nd year who has played 14 more games than my potential backup if it was Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
So Kellen played. He played in 3 games.
I thought it was 2. Didn't he play 2? Did he start 2 and play in one other?
He played in the Jets game when Castle was pulled.
Right.
After the greatest interception of all time.
Washington game and the Buffalo game.
So it was 3 games.
Yeah.
Sorry. So
remember the Jets game?
13. Yeah.
Castle gets flagged for intentional grounding on an interception.
Yes.
He got his first touchdown pass to Des Bryant
Right.
Or his first NFL touchdown pass to Des Bryant.
So,
That's
your starting quarterback in his second year has played 13 more games than your backup will in his second year?
Second official year?
Yeah.
Second or third.
I don't know how that makes you feel.
Mm-hmm.
But if they thought he was good enough to back up Romo, knowing what Romo's injury history had been, do you roll the dice again and get him for very inexpensive? I don't know what else is out there. You have to look at the field. Who do you want? If you look at your own field, who do you want? Kellen Moore or Mark Sanchez?
It ain't even a discussion. I mean, see you later, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Linehan connection.
Let's stay with Kellen Moore. I mean, like you said it all when you say if he was going to keep Dak on the bench, barring injury, Dak would have been on the bench.
Right.
So
until proven otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
So
as Broad has said recently, the shape of the franchise changed August 3rd, I think, like the second or third official like competitive practice when Moore broke his leg.
Kellen Moore's our guy. You can always shop to get better and be more competitive, but for the money, for what he knows about this offense, how he can be a ear for our young guy, there's nowhere in the world. I'm a Kellen Moore fan now.
And see, and here's the deal: you could sign him relatively inexpensively, and if some veteran guy gets dumped, you could say, okay, I can bring that guy in as my third guy.
No, sir. Kellen Moore, baby.
Just in case.
Moore.
All right.
I like Moore.
I like Moore.
More.
That's it there for me. I mean.
All right. Let's move on.
So it's Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore.
You know what I'm going to say, Rob?
What are you going to say?
You invite number 2, Jonathan Football, to training camp.
Oh.
Have him compete it out with Kellen Moore for the backup job.
Who?
Oh, boy.
Johnny Manziel.
Oh.
This guy's won games in the NFL. He's won more games than Kellen Moore.
Don't you, kid?
Jerry has a soft spot.
Horns off.
Jerry has a soft spot. He's always said if Johnny takes it seriously and gets himself together, that he would consider it. But
when's he going to get himself together?
He's doing it right now.
Oh, please. Are you serious?
That's George Whitfield. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. He stood up for him from the beginning. How'd that turn out?
You invite him to training camp. You see if he can
invite him to training. You don't get invites. You got to sign the guy.
Yeah, sign him, and we'll see what happens.
I'm a proud Aggie, just like you, Kent. I just don't
backup.
I
We're
wish
talking
him
about the backup.
I know,
here,
and I hope Johnny. I wish him the best, obviously, but I just don't see that happening.
One way or another, he's gonna recover. I promise you.
Yeah.
One way or another, he's gonna recover.
Sanchez, by the way, I mean, he is an option here to bring back. He only got 39 snaps. I think it was all in the Philly game in the finale. 10 of 18, 93 yards, 2 interceptions, 30.3 quarterback rating. If it's a single game audition, that's not a good one.
He failed. Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah, but who was he playing with?
That's fair point. He did have the bulk of the offensive line to work with for part of the game, at least.
Very, very part.
Yeah.
And then they start taking guys out.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you can say, oh, well, he didn't get to play the entire season and he needed some time to get rolling, but that's kind of the quarterback's job, the backup's job.
Now, I heard somebody said the Cowboys need to draft a quarterback. How many young guys that don't have any experience can you have on the team?
Well, there's a line of thinking that you should consider drafting a quarterback, maybe not every year, but every few years, every couple years. It is the most
to put him on
premier position.
To put him on the practice squad?
To compete to be a
we
backup.
We got showers, y'all.
There you go.
He's a DB now.
Yeah, they switched him to DB on the practice squad last year. Yeah, he's a safety.
Kellen Moore.
I like Moore.
I don't know. Why is everyone so into Kellen Moore? That's what I'm just kind of confused.
I'm not.
Literally
I'm not into Kellen Moore. But for your money and for the understanding of his offense and for somebody that can come and talk to, that understands and can read and see the same things that he sees and understands the same terminology, that's why I'm a Kellen Moore fan. If you would say, hey, last year when they were saying, more, I'm like, why?
All I say you add Kellen Moore as an offensive assistant.
Oh, you
and
put
he's
him
still around.
Well, put him in the coaching ranks already.
Then that puts you into
That's what he was doing last year.
Yeah, I know.
That puts you into a different deal. And I don't know. I'm with Mick now. Who's out there that you would want to invest your money in?
Mick, I don't think you can say, well, don't draft a quarterback because he can't play for you.
Well, how high are you going to draft it?
I mean, that notion got debunked last year.
How high?
Well, it would have to be in the later rounds, I would think, because you got bigger needs. But, I mean, again, value. Well, what if some guy just falls in your lap?
What if Deshaun Watson falls to the second round or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, hey, the Redskins quarterback of the present and future was a fourth-round pick the same year they traded the world to get RG3.
Right.
So
you didn't know about RG3 when you did it. You know about Dak Prescott now.
Oh, I know. I'm talking as a developmental backup, not to compete with Dak.
What are you, a developmental backup? When's he going to get a chance to back up?
Well, when was Dak going to get a chance to back up? I feel like I've been transported in time back to July.
Thank you, Kent, for coming out of the Bears.
What if Dak gets hurt for 12 games? I mean, God forbid, but doesn't hurt to have somebody in the back.
That is why you have to put Tony Romo in a padded room with Jerry Jones and convince him to take a base salary pay cut and stay.
You think that's realistic?
I didn't say it was realistic. I'm saying that's what you need to do. That would solve.
That would be the dream scenario.
That would solve all your problems.
Or every time Dak throws an incompletion, then we've got a potential quarterback controversy, at least in the fans and media's mind.
Well, let them.
Yeah, let them.
They can't run your organization.
You're right about that.
And as long as Tony's good with it.
How do you feel about at training camp just an open quarterback competition if Romo stays?
Can't do it.
I don't think we had that question. I think in the mailbag last week. I just don't think you can, Nate, go down that road. I mean, you've committed to Dak.
Nick said on the break a couple times. I think he said, "Don't bring Tony back if you don't want him to be your starting quarterback because he will look and be better than Dak Prescott in practice and in training camp. He's just a sharper, more polished quarterback. He's a veteran quarterback, and that'll be the controversy if you do bring him back."
Well, but the controversy, what you can't allow it to become, is a controversy on your team, because that's when you have a problem, and you can control that by the opportunities you give Tony Romo.
And we'll find out how much.
But that's why you can't have open competition, because then if the other 52 guys know there's open competition, they're choosing sides. I'll guarantee you, I've seen it. No one around here has seen it, because the Cowboys have rarely, if ever, had two quality quarterbacks on a team at the same time. So you got to control that. I don't care about the media. I don't care about the fans if I'm running the ball club. What I care about is what happens inside my locker room.
That's an interesting point, Nate, from a player's perspective. Like Jason Garrett always says, I want competition on my roster, everywhere on my roster. Quarterback's different, though, right?
Yes,
because
sir.
that's the leader of your football team.
Yes,
You've got to
sir.
know who your leader is.
That's right. I agree with you 100%. That's when Kellen Moore is looking better. The deeper this discussion get, the better Kellen Moore looks.
And to emphasize the leader part, we interviewed Ed Too Tall Jones yesterday extensively about the 77 season that we're doing the Deep Blue on. And we were talking about when he came back after he retired for 1 year to box. And so he boxed in 1979. When he came back in 1980, it was like, what was the difference in the team you left in 78 and the team he came back to in 1980? And he didn't even need a second to think about it. He said, Roger Staubach retired. We didn't have Roger Staubach. We didn't have our proven leader. And it was nothing against Danny White, but Danny White hadn't started before. And Danny White hadn't gained the respect of the guys on the team. And he went on for the next 5 minutes talking about Staubach's leadership skills. And at that position, even for a defensive guy, your quarterback has to be the leader. You need to know and have confidence in that guy. And if you think about it, that's kind of what Dak built this year, right? No one knew about him. And then all of a sudden, he's leading a bunch of guys and going to the huddle and telling veterans, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. Des Bryant, calm down. And I thought it was real interesting that he pointed out the quarterback position right away.
I tell you, like, Jerry, we did a deal this week, and all the older guys there, Roger, Drew, Tony, guys like that was there. And I'm telling you, when Roger came around and started talking, man, these guys just, I'm like, so what was I going to do? Yeah. I mean, because Ed was right. I mean, when he talks, man, and when he go to telling the story, whether it's good or not, all ears on Roger. Bottom line.
I mean, think about your years when you
Troy.
got there. No, when you first got there and Danny got hurt.
Yeah.
And you were volleying back between Pelluer, Danny.
That wasn't nice.
Right?
Yeah, that wasn't nice.
Kevin Sweeney got a shot in there.
And everybody was the next guy. That's the thing. Everybody was the next guy. And you ain't no next guy because Roger's Roger, Troy is Troy. Ain't no next guy. Tony is Tony, and Dak is Dak. Ain't no next guy. Each one of these guys are truly just individuals in their own way they do things and how they handle it. I mean, your next guy come when that next guy show up because
next guy comes when the next guy's needed.
Yeah, it's like wow. Because I mean, Sweeney, great man. He walk in his room, you love him to death. Pelluer, super guy. Walk in his room, love him to death. Go out on the field, you're like, what in the world?
See, and that's what happened in '84.
Yeah.
When Tom decided Gary Hogeboom was the next guy, Danny White gets benched, and then they kind of suffered through the first part of the season until they went back to Danny White about 8-9 games into the season. Next guy got his shot, and he won the next guy.
This league is so unforgiving. Because this next guy, once they get a chance to perform, because you can come in and don't nobody know you, don't nobody have a book on you, and you can come in, you can throw 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and boy, like, wow, he almost brought us back. This is our guy. Well, after 4 weeks, you be like, what happened to the 3 touchdowns? Because now it's 3 interceptions and 1 touchdown. It's reversed itself because they got a book on you. And that's the big question that's the next thing that Dak is going to have to go through. That's the next. Well, if we had Tony, they got a book on him now. The whole NFC East has 1 or maybe 2 guys or girls that's right now. He doesn't do this very well in this set. He doesn't do this very well in this blitz. He doesn't do this very well.
They're spending the offseason figuring out how to game plan for this guy twice.
But see, it's going to be so hard to play because at the top of that right there, they're going to have a big old thing saying, but he does have Zeke. Yeah, but right here he does have Zeke.
That helped a little bit. That would help any rookie quarterback. No doubt.
Because Roger talked about that. Roger talked about what they won the 77 Super Bowl or was it 70?
Super Bowl 12.
Yeah, and so Tony, the year before
that was his rookie year.
He said, Nate, boy, y'all got something special in Zeke. He just out of nowhere said, y'all got a running game. Yeah, out of nowhere. And I'm listening to him. He said, you see that guy over there? And he pointed to Tony. He said, that we could have won if we'd have had him the year before, or 2 years. We could have won that Super Bowl,
75 and 76, because they really, after Calvin Hill left from WFL, they were just piecemealing the running back. And as a matter of fact, everybody we've talked to so far, and I think 3 or 4 guys so far. So what was the difference between 76 and 77?
Yeah,
and the answer was TD.
Yeah,
Tony Dorsett. We had a running game, and the funny thing was. I think Too Tall said it. I said, well, what was it about Tony? Did you understand? He was that. Oh, I followed him at Pittsburgh. I knew how good he was.
I did too, man.
And he goes, but when we got on the field, he goes, there was only 2 guys in my 15 years who ran by me, and I could hear their jersey. He goes, one was Bob Hayes. The other one was Tony Dorsett. And he goes, and understand when we practice, we were only going 75%. He goes, I heard his jersey go whoosh when it went by me.
So Drew Pearson told me they didn't have a big play guy until he got in the starting lineup, and it took him a while to get into the starting lineup. Like 9 years.
Andrew was always
Tom
slow.
was stubborn.
Yeah, and Tony was telling me because back then they had before they would snap the ball, you was gonna see 3 different formations minimum. You was gonna see 3 different formations, and it took Tony a while. He said, man, it just took him a while to get used to shift to the blue, shift to red, and it was always mostly colors. And so they doing all this shifting. And he said one time they had to call a timeout because Landry called a play and Tony was running it in, and he got the blues and reds mixed up. So he read it and said, "What'd you say, Coach?" But anyway.
He figured it out, and they won a Super Bowl that year.
But the guys said, you know what? We got to the point where it was like, Tom, just hand him the ball. Let's not worry about it.
That's what Roger said the other night. He said, hey, just, you know what, Coach? Let's just hand him the ball.
Preston Pearson said, he knew the days were numbered. I mean, he was the starter, and they kind of had a committee, but at some point, somebody was going to have to sit down. and that's what happened.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yep, and he's in the Hall of Fame.
Let's take our final break. We covered.
How many guys did you say we had to cover?
9. We've got 7
How many
left.
we do?
2 because we fed the beast on a guy who's not a free agent.
Now we brought it back to 1977.
That's right. Zeke led to Dorsett.
Yeah.
We'll fast forward back to 2017 and go over these free agents next.
To work this big land, you need equipment with values rooted as deep in Texas soil as you are. Like John Deere compact tractors with a 6-year powertrain warranty and big features that help you work less so you have more time to do what you love. John Deere was first in the Texas fields, and we're proud to be on the field as the official ag and turf equipment of the Dallas Cowboys. Find Texas-sized deals at myjohndeeredealer.com/football. Terms, conditions, exclusions, and warranty limitations apply. See dealer for details.
With unlimited data from AT&T, you can stream your favorite DirecTV content almost anywhere. Side effects may include sports-induced public celebration, increased desire to share spoilers, and repeated late-night use of the phrase,
"Just one more episode."
The unlimited effect. Get unlimited data when you switch to AT&T Wireless and have DirecTV.
After 22 gigabytes of data usage, AT&T may slow speeds. Must have eligible TV service. If you're not eligible, AT&T will move you to a new plan and overage charges may apply. Plan will include Stream Saver. Other restrictions apply. See store for plan details.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, Cowboy legends, cheerleaders, and me, Brian Broaddus. Want to stay at the team hotel? With Star Sports Tours, you can. And our outstanding ticket selection is unmatched. You can trust the official travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit starsportstours.com to book your travel packages today.
Ice Cold Dr. Pepper and the Dallas Cowboys go way back. They belong together like Texas and football, silver and blue, shotgun formations and Hail Marys. Having a Cowboys football party without Dr. Pepper is like Thanksgiving without the Cowboys. Basically, we wouldn't recommend it. So, next time you have a tailgate, home gate, or whatever else kind of gate, grab some ice cold Dr. Pepper to make your Cowboys party one of a kind. Dr. Pepper, a Dallas Cowboys tradition.
This is Talkin Cowboys.
Hey, we're still talking about Papa John's pizza, by the way, because we know why it tastes so great.
Why, Mick? Why?
Oh, those ingredients like the veggies, fresh, whole, never frozen. The pepperoni.
Yeah.
You know, it's 100% pork and beef.
Yes, it is.
And when you have ingredients like that, you have a better pizza. You can eat more pizza, which allows those Tommy Johns to expand easily. And that's why you buy Papa John's.
Oh, my God.
That's the writer in Mickey just kind of weaving those two liners together.
Right.
You know, found a segue.
All right, we got 7 guys.
We do. Let's take a call real quick.
Okay.
All right.
Kent, who we got?
We're going to Boston, and Tim. What up, Tim?
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for taking my call. Hey, I just wanted to call in and just talk a little bit about what you guys were talking about earlier regarding the Patriots and how they do things regarding free agency and the draft. And all I've done is, as a diehard Cowboy fan up here in New England, is watch these guys, 7 Super Bowls in 14 years. One of the things that Belichick does consistently, unless your name is Tom Brady, you don't hold him hostage. They built through the draft. even his star players, they'll release. Look what they did with Chandler Jones and Collins this year. He made sure he wasn't going to sign him. He knew Chandler Jones was going to try to break the bank. He got rid of him for a draft pick. Did the same thing with Collins. The other thing too is like you look at Ty Law, Willie McGinnis, Lawyer Malloy. Even though these guys were big time productive players, they set a market and they stick to it. They don't care who you are. Like I said, unless your name's Tom Brady. And lastly, one of the things that he consistently does is when and they always draft towards the tail end of the draft clearly, he'll move back. Now, I understand the fifth-year option is important with first-round pick, but Bill will constantly move back and grab the 2s and the 3s and build that way. And again, even though it's 4 years, it's either his way or the highway. So I just wanted to see what you guys thought about that and that philosophy. And I'll hang up and listen. And thanks so much for all you guys do.
And I agree. And that's what Will McClay and Steven is doing. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what Will McClay and Steven is doing. They draft them where they're supposed to draft, and they projecting guys. And more importantly, I think the rest of the league is catching up to you're playing. You ain't no third round or fourth round pick, and we trying to develop you. Your development gonna be hitting this field and getting out there and playing. One thing I gotta admire about Belichick though is his defensive guy is one of his guys that he created. His defensive coordinator is a guy that he created and understands that defense inside and out. And Belichick, at any given time, you will see him back there with his defense, especially those linebackers and safeties, and drawing up things and showing things. So he got a personal touch in that. But Will McClay and Stephen Jones, I think they're doing the same thing. It's like, this is what we want. Now that they know what Marinelli looking for and want, they trying to improve on it.
So what was the guy's name? I'm sorry.
Tim.
So Tim's going to be okay come draft day when the Cowboys go from 28 to the second pick in the second round.
I was just thinking when he said that, the Cowboys get ripped for moving around too much, especially trading back from – the Travis Frederick pick in 2013, nobody thought that was a good move at all. Because and it turned out pretty well, but that was moving way back.
You could sit here and study the draft all you want.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me what's going to happen at 28.
Right.
And I'll guarantee you, unless something happens – when they do their grades, there might be 20 guys with first-round grades. When you get to 28, unless one of those guys falls out of there, just think of what Seattle did last year. They traded out of, 28?
Right.
For Denver wanted Paxton Lynch. So they came from the second round, gave them their second-round pick and whatever else, to drop out of the first, and you get a guy in the high second. It's a difference of 4 or 5 picks. Is it going to be that many guys there that, I got to have that guy at 28?
Right.
So I think that's in play. If there's a quarterback sitting there that somebody wants with the first, second, third pick in the second round, I got my hand in the air.
Well, they stayed pat in 2015 and took Byron Jones.
But that was a little higher, wasn't it?
No, that was 27.
Was it 27?
Yeah.
Well, they knew their guy. If you know your guy, you know your guy.
Right.
So, but you see where offensively the New England Patriots have, we can say they did it with smoke and mirrors because they had Tom Brady, but these players can play. These guys can play. The offensive line, wow, now that's been kind of a touch and go thing, but believe me, man, those 2 guys they let go, man, they knew that system, and when you know what you're looking at, when you know what you want, and that's what I think the Cowboys know defensively now, better than they did 2 years ago, or even 3 years ago. When Marinelli got here, they started putting something in place. Now they're going to improve with better players, and I think they've done it with Malik Collins. We don't know what Tapper was, but Tapper, I think, had something to him. Now the David Irvins of the world, son, if you want it, it's at your doorstep. if you want it, it's at your doorstep.
Absolutely.
Pittsburgh's another good example.
Oh, they know what they want.
Their defense, they know exactly what they're looking
Well,
for.
and they don't change in 20 years. How many times have the Cowboys changed their defense from 4-3 to 3-4 to a 4-3 and then a different type of 4-3? And there's something to be said for stability, for keeping the same head coach around, by the way.
And the same defensive coordinator.
Sitting there going, oh, we went 8-8, 8-net. Let's fire the guy. We got to win. We got to win Super Bowls.
Start. Calm down.
That's why stability really means a lot.
Okay, all right.
How many years did the Cowboys not have a winning season with Tom Landry before they reeled off 20 straight?
Right.
6.
You gotta put your game plan in place. Now you'll get me agreeing with you 100% on that. It's just even in college. I mean, with the one and done system in basketball and how you just fire guys, I'm like, really? But it's the world we live in.
All right,
Tough job for a coach.
Offensive player, free agent number 3.
Let's move to running back. Lance Dunbar.
Darren McFadden.
Those are your 2 running backs. Free agents to be.
I could try to re-sign one of them at my price.
Okay. By the way, McFadden was on with, I think, Sirius XM Radio.
Yeah.
And said he got the feeling that the Cowboys wouldn't mind bringing him back.
Did he want to come back for what they're offering?
There's the question.
All right. He's 30? Is he 30? 29?
I don't think he's quite 30 yet.
Okay.
Let's package both of them up and ship them off and get Adrian Peters. No.
Hey, don't complicate the show.
I thought I'd pull that one out. No, I'll take either one. I prefer Dunbar because he's younger. I think a little more explosive, but I'll take either one.
So I think you
Price
have
is
to
right.
you have to decide what's Alfred Morris.
Right.
Is he my backup if something happens to Zeke? Is he my guy? Am I good? Because if you bring in McFadden and Morris to me are basically the same. Now they obviously thought McFadden was better than Morris.
A little more explosive.
Yeah.
Than Morris. Morris gets you what? If it's 3 yards there, he gives you 3.3, 3.5.
Lance Dunbar is the equivalent of what? Deion Lewis?
Right.
You know, a little gimmick guy.
Right.
Do you want that? I don't know.
They've wanted it for years.
And I can't imagine somebody's going to offer him a whole bunch of money.
Maybe you get him back on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, come back and prove it.
I wonder if McFadden could get an opportunity to start somewhere. Think that's possible? I don't know that. I just throwing it out there. You know, we talked about quarterback and could the Cowboys draft another quarterback? Well, I mean, they drafted a running back, Darius Jackson, in the 6th round last year.
Yes.
After having Zeke in the 4th overall pick, you got McFadden and Morris. So I certainly wouldn't rule out them trying to go with a cheap young back as well.
Inexpensive.
Cheaper than Darren McFadden. I mean, we'll see. But I know they like him too.
McFadden turns 30 on August 2nd.
Ooh, that ain't bad.
Kent, what would you do?
I think I would keep either McFadden or Morris, probably leaning towards Morris, just because he's a fresher body, less injury prone than Darren McFadden is. And you've already got him under contract, I believe.
Yes, you do, and you paid him some money, so it's going to
count. And you would have to re-sign McFadden. Also, I would draft a guy, a Darius Jackson type guy in the 6th round, depending on how far a guy like Foreman from Texas falls. If he falls to the 5th round or something like that, I would not be upset if they took a running back in this draft. Obviously not at 28 or in the 2nd round, but even a 3rd or 4th round running back, I wouldn't blame them for doing that.
You think he's going to fall that far?
This is a pretty stacked class of running backs. So
yeah, but he was pretty good, wasn't he?
He's pretty good, but I think Broadus has a 3rd or a 4th on him. I mean, he's kind of in the middle here. There's like 2 guys from Oklahoma alone that are ahead of him. You know, so
yeah. But where's Mixon going?
Yeah, that's true.
Who's going to roll the dice on that?
They will.
Mixon's the best running back in the draft.
That's absolutely agree.
There's going to be somebody, I think, in the first 2-3 rounds that'll take that chance.
Okay. Let's move on to
Next.
Wide receiver.
Yes.
Terrence Williams and Bryce Butler both headed for unrestricted free agency.
Can I get one of them?
Take Terrence.
Steven said at the Senior Bowl he'd like to have them both back, but it comes down to cost. You take Terrence, Kent?
I do. More consistent. Bryce just couldn't catch the ball at the end of the year. He hasn't been a consistent. If you're Dak Prescott, how many more times are you going to chunk it down the field at Bryce and have him come up empty? Had a couple of big moments, but I feel like Terrence is a more consistent threat in different areas of the field, not necessarily a deep threat like Bryce would be. So Bryce, you can probably get way cheaper. Granted,
what do you think there's a market out there for Terrence?
I think absolutely.
Nate,
I'm
drafting a guy by the way.
I buy into this theory right here because I've seen it so many years and it ain't failed yet. And I'm not saying it'll happen for the Cowboys, but 12-4, 13-3. Well, people just think automatically them same guys with 4-12. All of a sudden, man, this guy pretty good. I mean, we can make him a little bit better. And
all it takes is somebody to view him as a number one. And
well, then guess what?
Remember LaRon Robinson in 2011?
Yeah. So a winning record changes the way people think of you and look at you. And they thinking you're bringing more than just your stats. They think you're bringing a winning attitude.
And he was a fabrication of Tony Romo's ability.
All the way.
11 touchdowns that year. And
Yeah.
got signed by Jacksonville for a good
So
chunk of change.
if somebody's going to pay Terrence Williams like a number one receiver, thanks for your time.
They won't pay him like that, but they'll pay him good money for a second. They know that he's a second. They know that he's a second, but somebody will say this is what we need. This is what we need. My second, I'm with Kent, and this is for both guys. You got to catch the ball better.
Yeah.
Both. I mean,
my second guy can't have drops,
Not
and that's
like that.
not, and that's not the reason. And drops or no drops. If you're the second guy, the reason you're second is there's some dimension missing, right?
Yeah, right.
And maybe you're just a speed guy that stretched the field.
Right.
But you're only going to get so many opportunities because Dez is going to get fed.
And
Jason Witten's going to get fed.
Cole Beasley.
Beasley's going to get fed. Zeke's going to get fed.
He turned himself into the second guy.
So if you get 6 real opportunities, you got to catch the ball 6 times. Now, I'm not saying, targets and throw the ball over his head or whatever, but balls hitting you in the hand have to be caught if you're the second guy.
There's that target stat again.
There's that Pro Football Weekly.
There it is.
Focus or whatever it is.
I'm sure they track quality stats. I'm not going down this road with you. We got
I'm
3
just
minutes
saying,
left.
That's what you got to do as the second receiver.
I agree.
What was Elvin Harper?
That's right.
He didn't get a lot of opportunities. He never caught
did.
more than 35, 39 passes in a season, but he caught the ball.
Right. You got
with them big old gloves.
You got to catch the ball, man. That bothered me, man. Especially with not Terrence, but the other kid, Butler. Golly, wow. I mean, Dak was trying to make him the man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he never hesitated to throw that ball long to that kid.
That's how you turn into the fourth receiver.
Yeah.
Okay.
He tried to make him the man, boy.
Speaking of like fourth receivers, Gavin Escobar, tight end.
Bless his heart.
Yeah.
Never caught a lot of passes here.
Are we using him the right way? Do we have enough balls to? He dropped a few too, but God, I please don't go to New England and be a star.
Martellus Bennett.
Yeah, please don't go to New England and do it. It's something about this kid that's good.
I know.
How is he as a person? I mean,
he's fine. I mean, he's good. He's sensible.
Yeah.
At most, I'd sign him to a 1-year deal to bring him back and let him get maybe a proved season because you think you're going to have Hannah back, you're going to have Swaim back. You think, and you've got money invested in Hannah, but he's different than those guys.
But again, tight end's another position I'd look at in the draft and say, let's start thinking about developing another young guy. I don't know when.
How many developmental tight ends can I have on the same team?
Well, maybe you don't bring them all back. Is the point?
I know.
Maybe you don't bring Escobar back.
Oh, I'm saying, yeah. If I brought him back at a 1-year deal with not much,
Does that mean you'll have to
nothing
keep
guaranteed?
And Rico
I
Gathers
don't have to keep him.
part of this equation.
Yeah,
too.
I understand.
So,
but who do they have that can do what Witten does?
I'm not saying replace Jason Witten.
No, but at some place at some point
down the road,
you gotta, right? So, of those 3 guys, which guy has the best opportunity to be Jason Witten?
Hannah. Just because of the blocking factor, and he can catch the ball.
Right.
Hannah is it. I mean, and Swain will be next. Escobar is not a. Don't do that to him. He's not a pass. He can't run block. I mean,
right.
Yeah. You're trying to get somebody hurt, trying to,
And he had to do a little bit of it with Swain going out with the pec injury.
He's another specialty guy. He's like Dunbar. He's a specialty guy.
Right.
All right.
Okay, I agree with that.
2 more, and we got to get out of here because we're already late.
Oh, gosh.
Jonathan Cooper and Ron Leary, guards.
Well,
Cooper signed late in the year.
The league's going to decide on Leary for you.
Yeah, we can.
Yep.
Wow.
Probably can't afford that.
Wow.
Because
you got Lyle Collins.
Some 2-bet guard this past year got paid $8 million a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cooper, too, is a guy they signed late in the year. He's listed as a guard, but maybe they could try to
Put his
mold him
hand on the ball.
into a center type, Joe Looney type guy.
Oh, no, not Looney. You're getting rid of Looney?
No, he's coming back. I'm just saying.
Say it ain't so, Joe.
Jumbo Joe.
Jumbo Joe, got to have him reporting.
All right, well, that does it.
And hopefully he reports loud and clear, and the referee
I hope he don't blow a gasket running out there telling the ref, and then can't have enough for the play.
He loves going in there. He loves it. All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. That takes care of the free agents to be. March 9th, everything gets underway.
We doing this again next week, or are you gone?
Kent and I are gone.
Well, what are Nate and I going to do?
Well, maybe you should try to get Jerry Jones in studio or something.
You got Douglas.
Oh.
You got Douglas McGarvey.
We'll run the show.
Why don't you book a special guest?
I'll get a special guest. Absolutely.
Get Leon Lett.
Leon Lett would be fantastic.
He'll probably be at the Combine.
Yeah, and so will Jerry Jones. What am I saying?
Maybe I can get
That's your project, though.
Ed Too Tall Jones to come in and join
There you go. Tune in Tuesday to see who's in studio with Mickey and Nate. Talk to you guys then.
By ourselves.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!